Hi friends, Brenda Hillard here, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I have another fun project for you using the Sweet as a Peach bundle. It's a suite of products, and it is just really fun. I love the colors. The whole suite can be found on page 60 and 61 in the annual catalog, and the stamp set itself has the cutest sayings and fonts, and it's very versatile. So you have birthdays, you have thanks, you have just a to a sweet friend, like a little hello card. But I love when you have just the typed font and then with the scripty font, and they stamp super nice. I'll show you. Today we're going to be making a thank you card. Feels like you never have enough thank you cards, doesn't it? I hope you send your friends and your family cards. They love them. It's fun, and I don't know, a card in the mail just says that you really thought about me and that you planned to send me something. It takes a really big effort. It's not like a quick text message or an email. It means that you either went out and purchased a card, made a card, had a stamp, addressed the envelope, put it in the mailbox, and then that glorious day when it arrives in our mailbox, and we love happy mail. So anyway, let's go talk about the other products I'm going to use. Again, I'm going to be using the checks and dots embossing folders, and this time I will be using the checks embossing folder. These are narrow because they're designed to fit our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but they work perfectly in our full size as well. So if you've watched my other videos, you know that I've talked about the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss has a 3.5 inch receiving tray. The big, I call it the boss, the full-size Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine has a 6.5 inch receiving tray. So I'm going to keep this one out because we'll be using it. And what I want to start with is our paper sizes. So you're going to need a basic white, just the medium size envelope. I have a piece of Pear Pizzazz that measures 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. I have 2 pieces, so cut 2, of basic white that measures 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I have a piece, I didn't show you this. I have to show you so you know where this is coming from. This is the Designer Series paper. Let me zoom out. This is the Designer Series paper for the You're a Peach. And this is part of the suite. When you place or use that one item number for the suite, you will get the stamps, the dies, the paper, and a set of these awesome little mini jam jars. I just love these. I think they're adorable. But anyhow, let's get back to the project at hand here. So this is the paper I'm going to be using today. Look at all the colors it coordinates with. Love this paper. But I've chosen to use this pattern and this pattern for today's cards. All right. So this is the card that we'll be making. It's super simple, but yet it's super pretty. And then on the inside, look at that font. I can't get over it. I am just in love with this. And then, of course, we have our decorated envelope. So that small piece of peach paper measures 1 inch by 5 1/4. And then we have 2 strips of the stripe. So this one's 1/2 inch by 5 1/4 inch. And this one's 1/2 inch by 4 1/4 inch. And this, the smaller one, the 4 1/4, is for our envelopes. So we may as well put that on right now. I'm just gonna bring in my silicone craft mat, add some Stampin' Seal, and then I'm just gonna put this on the left front of our envelope, like that. Just to decorate it up a little bit. You know my no naked envelope thing. This month at Create with Brenda, when you use my host code that's right up here, and your product order is $50 or more, I will send you absolutely free one of our silicone craft sheets. And you'll see me using this a lot. It just helps keep your work surface free of extra adhesive. So whether it be liquid or multi-purpose liquid glue or the Stampin' Seal, you can use it with a hot glue gun. It won't melt. So it's kind of slick for that. The other pieces of paper that I had is just a scrap of basic white and a scrap of pale papaya and a scrap of Calypso coral. All right. So is what I want to do first is I'm going to take one of the 4 by 5 1/4 inch pieces of our basic white. I'm going to zoom out because I want you to be able to see how I'm going to use this embossing folder. And remember me saying that these embossing folders were designed for the mini, but they will work perfectly fine in our regular size. And is what I want to do is I only want to emboss on the right side of this card. I'm going to leave this edge just flat, okay? And if I wanted to do this in the mini, I wouldn't be able to because we're over the width of the receiving tray. So this is an instance where you for sure would want the full size. So you notice how I don't put it to the top of the embossing folder. You don't want to do that. And you want to make sure that your embossing folder goes in with the creased edge first. Oops, I have my wrong setup here, you guys. Sorry. I'm going to take this off. We need platform 1. We need a cutting plate. And we need our, let me grab it here. And I think I told you wrong, but platform number 4. And let's see how this feels going through. That is not correct. Did you see the tension that was on that? So I'm going to take this cutting plate out. So it's going to be platform 1, then the embossing folder and your paper, and then platform 4. And that's not right either. So let me grab my little shim. This is good that it's happening because this really does happen. And I guess if I read directions, it would, you know, it would make sense. So now I'm going to line this up again because I want that just on the right side of my card front. Now let's roll it through. And that is the winning combination. All right. We'll open this up. And can you see those fun checks on there? Yeah, you can. That's awesome. I love it. I love this folder. All right, let me get the boss out of the way. So one more time is what you needed was platform 1, this platform 2, your embossing folder with the paper, and then the gray number 4, okay? All right. Sorry if I confused you on that. All right, let's take our card base here, fold it in half, just give it a burnish with our bone folder so we get that nice crease. I'm going to take my checkered card front and add some Stampin' Seal, and then I'm just going to center that on the front of the Pear Pizzazz card base. And when I say center, is what I do before I really press it down is I make sure that these borders are equal, okay? So that's going to be the base of our card. Next, I'm going to take that 1-inch piece of the little mini pear, or the peaches. Why would I call them pears? Add some adhesive to that little strip. And then that's just going to fit on the very right side of our card. So now we have designer series paper and our checkered emboss, okay? Our little strip of striped paper that measured 1/2 by 5 1/4, we're going to give that some Stampin' Seal. And then I'm just going to lay that down right next to the peach. And maybe I'll overlap it just a little bit. Yeah. There we go. So there's our border. Next, we're going to bring in our scrap piece of basic white. And we get to do that magic coloring again on the peach. So I have our pale papaya, and I have the peach stamp mounted on my acrylic block, and this is a D block. I'm going to ink it up by moving it all around on my stamp pad. I'm going to turn it over, and using my Calypso Coral sponge dauber, I'm going to pick up some ink, and I'm just going to go down like the right side, the left side, and then just a little bit in the middle. All right. I'm going to stamp. Give the ink time to penetrate the paper and lift. Look at our pretty peach. And this isn't a flaw. That is built into the stamp. That's how it's supposed to look to give it texture. Okay. So now I'm going to do one more of those. Ink it up. Moving it all around on my stamp pad. Take my sponge dauber. Pick up some ink. Go around the edge. Down the middle. And stamp. I'm just going to hold it there. And there it is. I just love these peaches. They're just making me so happy. All right, so that's that. Then we're going to bring in the Pear Pizzazz. And there's this little 2-leaf stamp that's in the set with the stem, okay? I want to stamp 2 of those. One for each of our peaches here. Okay, so there's that. And then the only other thing we have to stamp yet is we're going to do that on our card, this little sentiment here says, "To a sweet friend." So I'm going to open up our early espresso, and I'm going to bring in the stamp, and this is on a G block, and it says, "To a sweet friend." So I'm going to ink it up. I'm just going to stamp. So we get that really fun little sentiment. And then while I have the early espresso out, I'm going to bring in our second piece of basic white that measured 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to do the "thanks so much." And a good way to line this up on your block is to just set it even on your grid paper. Grab it with your block. And then when you stamp, you can just line up the top edge of your stamp, you know, so that it's parallel with your insert. And then I get to do "thanks so much." Look at how like crisp and clean, and I just love the sentiments in this set and the fonts. I just can't. It's like I just want to keep stamping with them. It's so fun. All right, so now that we've got everything that we're going to stamped, I'm going to move off to the side, and we're going to bring in our big shot again. Oh, the Boss, the Stampin' Cut and Emboss. It is not a big shot. Old habits are hard to break. So, honest and true, you need platform 1, platform 2, a cutting plate, and then we're going to lay out what we want die cut, okay? Unfortunately, in this set of dies, there is only one die for this 2-leaf. It would be nice if there were 2, but there's not. So we have to make 2 passes because there's only one of the peach. Also, so I've got that lined up just like I want it. And then in this die set, there's this cute little label right here, and it fits the "to a friend" perfectly. So I'm going to scooch that up a little, and then we're going to lay, I'm getting out of my camera, we're going to lay the scrap piece of Calypso Coral on our cutting tray also, because we want these pretty little flowers. So I have those laying on there. And now I'm going to carefully put the top cutting plate on, making sure that our dies stay right where we want them. And remember, I've told you before, if your dies move around, you can always use a Post-it note to secure them in place if you're doing multiple cuts like I'm doing right now. So I'm just going to wheel this through, and then we'll take our cut pieces off. And this is where we need to do one more time with the leaf. You know, because we have 2 of them on our card, so, and only 1 die, so we have to do it twice. There's that. Here's our sweet little sentiment. And then our adorable little flowers. And we have 3 of those on the front, and I also want 3 of them for the inside. So we're going to do one more pass with those as well. So again, I'm going to lay this down. We're going to roll it through. And now we have all of our pieces we need to assemble our card. So if you are not, if you do not have a die cutting machine and you have not worked with die cutting, I know when you first look at it, it seems like a lot of putzing, but I'm telling you, these dies add so much just pizzazz to your card. It takes them up that extra step and gives them the wow factor is what I refer to it as. All right, let's put the rest of our card together here. So this is our insert. Let's take our 3 little flowers here. And is what I want to do, or how I want to attach these, is I'm going to put just a couple tiny little dots of glue. And I can bring in my take your pick tool with the putty end. And I'm just going to grab and glue, grab, whoops, grab and glue, and grab and glue. All right, I'm good with that. So I'm going to set it off to the side and just let our glue dry for a moment. All right, let's get our peaches here. And these stems can go either way. So I can go like this, or I can go like this. And for this particular card, I want one of each. So I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to zoom in so you can see. Do you see how the stem, watch. See how the stem comes down on the peach there a little bit? So is what I did, just like that. Bring in my full-size dimensionals, and I just catch that little stem onto the back of the peach. And it works awesome for holding it in place. So there's one of our peaches, and that's the one that has the stem or the leaves going off to the right. So this one we're going to do the leaves going off to the left. And I can do that same thing. See how the stem comes down? I'm going to grab it with the dimensional. I'm going to add a couple more. And then one more up here. All right, we're ready to take our backings off. And you guys, I always use my nails for taking the backings off, but if that doesn't work for you and you struggle, you can use your take your pick tool with the pointed end, and you just poke in at an angle, and it lifts the backings off your dimensionals. All right, so this one and this one. So I'm going to put this down first. I'm going to put it at a little bit of an angle, and then I want this one angled even a little bit differently. So down and over, and now that's attached to our card. And when we put on this sentiment, it's a really thin band. So we want our mini dimensionals, which the take your pick tool works really well for those two to pick up and place. And I'm just putting one on the left side of our banner here, and then I'm going to add some adhesive to the right side, and I'll show you why in a minute. When I set this down, this end is going to glue to the peach that is already popped up on a dimensional. This end is not. So in order for my sentiment to sit even, I need to have a dimensional on this end and just some adhesive on that. Now, for this card, it feels like we have a lot of white showing, doesn't it? That's why I cut out this second set of flowers. So I'm going to bring my adhesive back in, and I'm just going to put a couple really small dots. And again, with the putty end of my take your pick, I'm going to pick up my flower. And whoops, that was a good land. Landed right on the glue dot. And this works really slick for stencils too. So I'm gonna put that one right down here. All right, so let's bring in our rhinestone basic jewels. And I'm gonna cover the putty end of my tool, and we'll be using the point. I'm going to pick up some small rhinestones, and we're just going to place those right in the center of our little flowers. I feel like that gives it just the right amount of sparkle. So there's our card front. And now remember, we had our insert here, our thanks so much, and we had put our little flowers down on there. Those also I'm going to give a little sparkle with that small rhinestone in the center of each of those. And you'll find when you mail any kind of card that has the rhinestones, you're going to want to put a cushy piece of foam or an extra piece of cardstock in your card. It just helps when it goes through the machine at the post office so that it doesn't perforate or pierce through your envelope. I'll show you what I mean. Sorry about that rolling across. I'll show you what I mean by the little piece of foam. Well, I thought I had one right here, and I do. So, just that really thin packing foam that comes. I guess I don't have one right handy like I thought I did. But, or even if you have like smaller pieces of cardstock that you were saving for whatever, you can just cut those to fit over this area too, and then it stays nice in your envelope. I'm going to add some adhesive to the top. And there's our insert for our card. And we have the fun coordinating envelope. I hope you loved today's project. Stay tuned. I got lots coming with all these new sweets in the catalog. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.